Hey, my name is 𝗗𝗟𝗧, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hey guys, welcome back to this week's show. Oh, it's a good one. Do you know what? I keep saying that every week because they keep being good ones, but we are just starting to have so much fun with guests and really interesting topics, and this one does not disappoint. So, right before I get into introducing this week's guest, I want to thank everyone who submitted a review for our giveaway. I was running a quick little giveaway for a few weeks for a free 30-minute Zoom coaching session with me, and a bunch of people went ahead and put their reviews onto the different podcasting platforms, and we're going to be pulling them out of a hat and announcing the two winners next week. So make sure that you tune in on I believe it's the 17th. Let me just double check. Yes, the 17th, February 17th, and I will be announcing the winners and reading the reviews at the very beginning of the episode. So tune in for that. Find out if you were a winner, and we will schedule our Zoom coaching. But okay, so you guys have heard me talk about Pinterest. If you have been on the podcast listening long, if you have been following me on social media, you know that I am a big fan of Pinterest for promoting an Etsy shop, for marketing. It's free marketing, especially for e-commerce, for an Etsy shop, and beautiful product pictures. And so we are extremely fortunate this week to have a true Pinterest professional as a guest on the podcast. Tabi from Simple Pin Media will be joining us. And so Simple Pin Media is a marketing company, a Pinterest management and marketing company. It was founded by a lovely woman named 𝗗𝗟𝗏𝗡. And through their work of over 700 Pinterest accounts, they take a data-driven approach to crafting a Pinterest strategy that aims to help their clients and students find their perfect person on Pinterest. Kate and the Simple Pin team teach thousands of people about Pinterest marketing through various speaking engagements and the Simple Pin podcast, which is awesome. I've mentioned it before. Oh my gosh, listen to that podcast. So Tabi, our guest today, she's the social media manager for Simple Pin and the collective community manager. She also manages client accounts where she works daily with the ins and outs of Pinterest account management, and that gives her just like extra special insight. She's just got more feelers out there than any of us do. And Tabi works very closely with Kate to help educate their team and their students about how to effectively market your business on Pinterest. And I know for a fact that Tabi is really involved in doing the research for what new things are happening on Pinterest and what announcements they have. So she's just like on the cutting edge. She is a doll. She is a wealth of information. You can tell she just like has so many details in her brain and so many strategies at her fingertips. And I just really enjoyed this conversation. I know whether you are brand new on Pinterest or you have been doing it for years, you're going to get so many ideas and so many great next steps from this conversation. So help me welcome Tabi from Simple Pin Media. Tabi, welcome. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and honored that you asked us to come on.
This feels incredibly special. Just because I am such a big fan of Simple Pin Media. I've listened to Kate and the podcast for years. I have so much just respect and honor for you guys. Like, to me, you're the authority. You know, you guys know your stuff. So this means a lot to me. And then also just knowing how important Pinterest strategy is or can be for an Etsy shop that really wants to grow. This is just thank you. It's really special. It's going to be a really powerful episode. I'm so excited for our listeners and what they get to listen in on.
I hope so. I hope it's everything you guys are needing as far as information. Yeah, we're excited. Let's talk.
Yeah, and the awesome thing about you guys is you have so many other resources. So when people want to go deeper, there's going to be plenty for them to like jump in on the end.
Mhm.
So, but let's start with you, Tabi, because you're just like a fascinating woman in this amazing company. And like, tell us a little bit about like your background and how you got started working for Simple Pin Media.
So yeah, I don't actually have a background in this industry, but 3 years ago, I was talking to one of my friends, and she was working for this company, and there are a bunch of women who work from home, and she said, we just pin all day. And I was like, wow, that sounds awesome. And the more we were in a relationship, the more she was like, I think you would be really good in this company. And so she was like my reference. And I waited 6 months to get in because we just don't have a high turnover. Like, it's hard to get in here, but because it's a great company to work for. But so so what happened was, once I found out about Simple Pin Media, we have a podcast, the Simple Pin podcast. And I just started listening to the podcast like major fangirl. I became a major fangirl of 𝗗𝗏𝗧, who is the owner and founder of Simple Pin. And I really just wanted to dive in and try to get to know the company and what, we did. And so then 6 months later, I still hadn't heard anything. They weren't hiring. And I was like, just checking in. Hey, I'm over here still if you want to hire me. And I mentioned, like, I've been listening to the podcast like religiously. I didn't say that, but I was. But and so they were really impressed by that, and I got hired. And then, so we're a remote company. We don't have a place, we all go and work. We just all work from home. So it was about 6 months later, after I got hired, we finally had a big work meeting, and I finally met Kate. And it's a funny story because we walked in, we met at like this restaurant, and I walked in and I saw Kate, and I had been listening to her on the podcast for a year and never met her. And then I meet her, and I immediately like start crying. And I'm like, what the heck? Where is this coming from? Like, it was ridiculous. Like, I cried meeting my boss, but it's a great story now, and a great joke. But yeah. So I just dove into the content here because, like I said, this is not something I was into before. I was not in this industry. I used to be a massage therapist, actually. So, and then I was
Whoa.
yeah, so big difference. But then I was a stay-at-home mom for a while, and then I jumped into Simple Pin, and I jumped in. I got really involved. I learned everything I could, and so now I am in charge of curriculum inside our membership, and I'm also the social media manager for Simple Pin Media. I also manage a couple of clients' accounts, so I am deep into all of that, and I try to stay up to date for our audience.
It's honestly amazing how much the company does, because you've got, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've got both the like, you manage Pinterest accounts for people who really want to do it well, and then you have all this educational content for people who want to learn how to do it. There's so many things going on.
Yeah, so we kind of have like two sides of the company. So one side is we do complete management of our clients' accounts, anywhere from e-commerce space to just a regular blogger.
Wow.
Yeah, and then on the other side, it's Pinterest marketing education. So for those who aren't quite ready to have their accounts managed by somebody, they're still doing everything themselves. We're here to help you do that. By teaching you. We have a membership, we have free resources, we have our podcast, obviously our website. So we have lots of education for people, and whether you're beginner or advanced. So it's good.
See, this is so what makes you guys such an authority. Like, this is why it was like a dream to get a podcast with you guys, because when you manage that many things, when you're that into Pinterest and you're managing multiple accounts and you're working with so many students, you have an angle that even someone, like I work with Pinterest every single day as an entrepreneur for my blog, for my business, for my Etsy shop. And yet I still wouldn't begin to have the insight that you guys would, because you're managing all these different clients. Like you guys are it's so good. So as the Pinterest guru, like I've talked about this on the podcast before, but everyone listening, this is next level. Like if I was not on video right now, I'd be taking notes, but it would be awkward if I did it. So I'll be doing it later. So Tabi, there are thousands of hungry Etsy sellers listening right now. And Pinterest has really changed. So can you explain to us, like the Pinterest of 2022, what should we expect from the platform, right? Like, what is it like today?
Yeah, so it's definitely changed, especially it started around 2020, and then 2021 it was like this massive change on Pinterest. So yeah, we're totally adding a bunch of new content as far as like what we teach. So if you've been on Pinterest in the past, then and you were to come on right now, you would see some different things. And the main thing would be like idea pins. I think you've talked about it on your podcast, right?
Yes, but
How,
please, I mean, it was ages ago. It was weeks and weeks and weeks ago.
yeah, weeks and weeks, ages.
Well, months ago. That was back probably in September.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, they're pretty important now. And we're going to talk more about idea pins a little later, I think. But just that's probably the main thing that's changed as far as how it looks. As far as how it's changed this year for your audience is that Pinterest has put a lot more focus on the e-com space. They're making it a lot easier for pinners to shop on Pinterest, and they're making it a lot easier for product sellers to integrate their own shops into the Pinterest platform. So that's pretty
Gosh,
exciting.
for a physical product, that is a dream. I feel like Pinterest used to be a blogger's dream, and now, my content about teaching Etsy isn't doing as well on Etsy, but heck, Etsy listings are doing great. And like, correct me if I'm wrong, can people, like our listeners, can they actually link their listings directly on Etsy and people could buy them without having to go over to Etsy? Is it that high tech now?
Um, no, it's a 2-click. So you connect your Etsy shop to your Pinterest,
Cool.
and it would be like a 2-click system basically. So there you have product pins, and you're going to click on the product pin and it will take you to your Etsy shop to purchase.
Okay. No, that's super helpful because I've been getting that question. So thank you for that.
Yeah, they have it quite integrated. There was talk about like PayPal working with PayPal, or PayPal buying Pinterest for a little bit there,
Oh
and it would
Lord.
be something like that where you would purchase on the platform. But no, that's not what.
You're still seeing products more than anything else circulating in the pins. Like, you're getting more exposure than ever before. I mean, from your perspective, if you were working with an Etsy seller as a client, like how should they be using Pinterest? How would you recommend, like specifically an Etsy seller use today's Pinterest?
So with all the changes on Pinterest, product sellers have an advantage on Pinterest. So what I was telling you earlier was that, like back in the day, we used to really speak to the bloggers and really be able to have advantages there because it was just easier for bloggers on Pinterest. And our e-commerce people would be like, "What about us?" Like, and we'd be like, "Oh, it's a little harder for you." I don't know, like. But now with Pinterest prioritizing shopping on the platform, it's really great for you guys, you Etsy sellers. So things like idea pins. The reason why idea pins are great for you guys is because you get to tag your products on the idea pins. And idea pins are the top prioritized pin format on Pinterest, which means Pinterest is going to prioritize putting idea pins in front of your audience over like standard
Gosh,
pins or even video pins, typically, generally,
it's just a gold mine. Mhm.
Yes, it is. It's a gold mine. And so like so when you create your idea pins, you can tag your products on those idea pins, and they're clickable for, if your audience is looking through and you're being personable on your idea pins and you're telling them about your product, or you're showcasing your product in a lifestyle, imagery, you're going to be able to add a tag to that. If they want to purchase it or look more into it, they can click over to your Etsy shop. Another great thing about Pinterest for product sellers is just brand awareness. And it's just really another place to, showcase your brand, showcase your products, what you have to offer for your audience. And actually, what I like about Pinterest, especially as like a secondary platform for your shop, is that it's a place where you get to really kind of showcase your products in a more, I don't know, like lifestyle way. Like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like you're able to,
Absolutely. It's
especially
not
with
just a
idea
picture.
pins.
It's like, here's how you use it, you
Yes,
know?
yes. Like if I go on Etsy, it's like I can't watch a video, or you can't really, I don't know. Can you talk about can you add a video and talk about your products? I don't know.
The video doesn't have any sound.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know
So
that.
it's just visual.
Yeah. So it's just another, so Pinterest, it's another way. You have video pins and idea pins. Those are great ways to really showcase your product, show how it can work in different environments and things like that. So
It's so fun that now we can use it for building a brand as well. Like that was just never it never felt like the vibe before, when I was doing that as a blogger. And now it's like, build your brand, show your face, it's a
yeah.
transformation. It's for Etsy
Yeah.
sellers, it's very exciting, I think.
Oh yeah, I think so too. We've had a lot of like pushback. A lot of people have pushed back. You've probably heard, or maybe you haven't, but idea pins don't link to your website. So you can product tag and you can tag affiliates, but you can't link to your website. And that's always been the draw for bloggers on Pinterest, because people come to Pinterest to search for things. They dream, they plan, they search for how-tos, they search for, things that ideas for their home or their fashion, all those things. So,
Yeah, inspiration.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that there's a change there, and some people don't like it, but it's actually really, really great for product sellers and exciting.
Could you guide us a bit? If an Etsy seller was going to go set up a new Pinterest account, what kind of boards would you think would be really important for them to start with, to start, really showcasing their products the right way?
Yeah. So we always like to say that you want to make sure you have your kind of like core keywords.
Oh,
Um,
wow, cool.
yeah.
Okay, keywords,
Yeah.
guys. Hello,
So,
keywords.
so, okay. So like what I like to tell people is you've done like all of your keyword research. I know you have to do keyword research on Etsy. So
For
you have
sure.
like, a set of keywords that are like common words that you come back to that are commonly searched within your niche. And so I like to have a list. That's actually what we do. We have a list, the account specialist here at SimplePin, for all of the accounts that we manage, we have a specific list of keywords that are always top ranking, always doing well, for our client. And we just have that list. So, and then with those keywords, you can play off of those. So for board names, you don't want to be too broad.
Yeah.
You might want to do like 2 to 4 words for each board. And I mean, it's not like exact science here, so just keep that in
Sure,
mind.
sure.
But I'm trying to think of an example here. So like home decor is kind of common on Etsy, right?
Yes, and
And
super broad.
yeah, so home decor is super broad. And so you wouldn't want to name your board home decor. You'd want to niche that down and say, home decor, even for saying home decor for the living room, might even be too broad. It just depends on your niche, what you're selling. So 2 to 4 words per board, and take your top keywords and play off of that and come up with boards that are more specific about your product and where that product might go, like in a room
Yes.
or like what, give me an example on Etsy.
So this worked really well for me. I sold wood signs in the farmhouse craze, and we're on
Mhm.
vacation mode now. We're making some. We're about to pivot because obviously farmhouse is on its way out. But what worked really well was like farmhouse signs for kitchen, like handmade signs for kitchen, handmade
Exactly.
signs for above bed, and then bedroom farmhouse signs. And it was like ways that I played off the same words. You know, does that sound like,
Yes.
is that what you would do in that case?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Another idea would be if you are selling products that is a common gift, like that
Oh
people
yeah.
give as gifts, that's also another way to like kind of grab the searchers on Pinterest. They might be searching like great gifts for mom, or gifts for grandma, or well, I don't know, things like that. You might be thinking about, or Mother's Day gifts, things like that. If your niche works in that area, those are great ideas too.
Hey, hey, this podcast is brought to you by my free masterclass, How to Kickstart Your Etsy Shop. Do you have goals for your Etsy shop that aren't quite happening yet? Whether you're an Etsy hobbyist or have dreams for a full-time, replace your day job kind of business, there's definitely a learning curve to figuring out your own Etsy secret sauce. And I totally want to help you connect those dots and crack the Etsy code even faster. So, I went ahead and made a free Etsy masterclass for you to start learning some of the critical pieces of the Etsy puzzle that will help you start getting those sales. My How to Kickstart Your Etsy Shop free masterclass will give you massive insights that will make your Etsy challenges feel like an old memory. I'm teaching you 2 myths that will hold you back if you buy in, 2 huge mistakes that most new sellers make, and 3 skills to master to become successful on Etsy. I can't wait to hear your quick wins that come out of this, you guys. You can grab it today. It's available on demand at howtosellyourstuff.com/masterclass. That's howtosellyourstuff.com/masterclass. I will see you there. Okay, I just love all that for how to set up boards. I think that's just a gold mine. I think that's so helpful. You guys, that is such key strategy. You're taking your same keywords that you're getting on Etsy through research, or you're getting from Sales Samurai, which is my favorite. I'll link that in the show notes for you. You're using that and you're putting them on Pinterest to create your boards. And you're going to, just like we talked about, you're going to mix up and put several keywords per board. And you can have, did you notice you can have duplicates? I had farmhouse signs for bedroom, but I also had above bed signs, like farmhouse above bed signs. Now, for your niche, you can do the same thing. You can have more than one boards, and you're having the same pins on both of them. So this is just, oh,
Mhm.
Tabi, you're
Exactly.
amazing. Okay, so I sometimes get questions, which I'm not as good at answering at all, about people who are selling vintage items.
Mhm.
That's one of the things on Etsy that we can sell. And so if someone's wanting to be selling vintage items, like that's something where you don't have, 10 available, right? You don't have duplicates, you have one item. And so I feel like that strategy might need to be a bit different. Could you just give us a tiny bit about that, like how you might go about that sort of an account?
Yeah. So actually, in the past, and you could still do this, but mostly we talked more about this in the past before Pinterest changed a bunch of things. For things that are like one-off items, you have your sections in Etsy.
Yes, we
And
do. Yeah.
yeah, so what you could do is when you're creating your pins, the text overlay on your pin, you could talk about like products like this. I wouldn't say products like this. Use your language that has to do with
Yes.
your products. But um, so products like this, and then when they click on the pin, that you're taking them to the section where those products that you might only have one of because it's a vintage thing or it's a one time creation thing, like But you can, you would organize them as like, this is the same category. These are items in this category. So what you would want to do is pin to that section. But that is not that, like, what's so exciting is since everything has changed on Pinterest, they're making it easier for people like this who sell one-off items.
Oh, cool.
Because if you integrate your shop or upload your catalogs, which that's a whole big story that we have resources over on Simple Pin Media to help you walk through those things, but it's like all techie and everything. But when you integrate your shop or your catalogs into Pinterest, Pinterest automatically reads your data source from your shop every 24 hours and automatically updates products that are new that you've added to your shop, or products
Wow.
that are no longer, they're out of stock, things like that. It will automatically update that for you, which is amazing. Because before all of this, we used to say, don't create pins that are, one-time thing, or a
Right.
sale that's a one-time item, like, and it was hard to really, promote that on Pinterest. So yeah, that's really exciting. Just the whole integrating your shop into Pinterest is a really big deal. And I highly recommend it for Etsy sellers.
I mean, I would do a combination of all of that. I think that is
Exactly.
extremely exciting, whether you're selling one-offs or not. And I also think that we should all be adding our sections to pins also. I mean,
Yeah.
that I would have, honestly, I feel like amateur hour over here. I did not think of that. That is not on my, or if I did, it was long enough ago to remember. My current like sections are not on there. So that is absolute gold.
So I do
Okay,
want to say though that it's not like pinning to sections or categories hasn't typically been as successful as being able to pin to one product, to that
mhm,
one product page. So that's just been something that we've noticed. But I would still do both for sure.
mhm,
And
mhm.
that's something
That
you
makes
said
a lot of
earlier
sense.
about, like, how we manage well over 120 clients. So that's really where I'm speaking from right now, is just being able to, like, to see all of these clients and their accounts and how they interact with, where they're pinning, how they're pinning to their shop. So that's just what we've noticed, that if you can pin to your product page, that's best. But if you have the
Okay.
situation where, it's like, I don't sell the same product over and over and over again, that's a great option for you.
There's just so many choices now. It's
I know.
wonderful.
And it's a little bit overwhelming.
Yes, and that's why I think, I would always suggest, like, just pick something to start with. Like, just start putting idea pins. Like, pick one thing to start getting comfortable with the platform, and then add other layers. You don't have to go do all of
Yes.
this today. Tabby is a genius. She's like a Pinterest guru. So this would be like a very advanced strategy, adding all of it together. I think
Yes.
there's just so many places we could just start. I'd start with idea pins and get the exposure. And then I'd have some linked pins directly to
Yes.
product
I agree.
listings. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, Tabby, because your perspective would be just like really enlightening for me. We talk a lot about research, and particularly in my Etsy course, I go into like my entire strategy of how I use research to create like a really successful hundreds of thousands of dollars Etsy shop, and it's more intense than just keywords, right? That's one really important part of it, but I feel like Pinterest it's been really helpful for me to use for research. Um, how would you use research or Pinterest as a research tool,
Uh,
if that makes sense?
yeah.
Okay, okay, it
Yeah.
does.
We talk about that, using researching on Pinterest for your keywords. Excuse me. Definitely, that is important. And on Pinterest, what we tell our members, our students, is it's actually really simple on Pinterest. There's not a whole lot to it. The two main things that I like to do if I'm doing a little bit of keyword research for clients is first just use their guided search. So if you have, you have your niche, your brand, and just taking those key phrases that are common in your niche, putting it in your in the Pinterest search bar. So for instance, farmhouse signs, you might put that into the search bar. And then Pinterest has a guided search. So you'll have that drop down of like other suggested phrases to go with that, farmhouse signs.
So helpful.
Yeah, and what is suggested in that drop down are the reason why Pinterest puts that there is because they are some of the top searched phrases on Pinterest. So those are actually really valuable, those words that you see in the drop down in the guided search. And those are things that you want to write down and, save for your like bank of keywords that are good to use on Pinterest. Another way that we kind of suggest with keyword research is, this is funny. Back in the day, Pinterest changes, all the platforms change all the time.
Yes.
But so back in the day, we used to be able to search and you'd hit enter. And then at the top of the screen were these little tiles, and there were a bunch of words that had to do with what you just searched for, and they were amazing for research. But they don't have them anymore, at least I thought. But I found a trick. And maybe this will be out of date like next month. I don't know. But for now,
I am listening. I am here for this.
For now, when you search and you click over to so like you're in the search bar, and then over to your right is the drop down, and you click on video, they still have the tiles under the video category. So that's what I would do, is go and use your, your key phrases from your niche and start searching and hit video. And then you'll see those tiles, and there's like a ton of tiles. So that's another way.
They're handing you keywords. They are
No,
handing you
they
gold.
are. That's what they're doing. So then another, just like in general, searching in your niche on Pinterest. So, looking at other creators that are in your niche, look at their pins, their text overlay. So the words they use on their pin image. And I'm sure you say this because, searching, or I didn't actually get to say this earlier, but Pinterest is a search and discovery platform more than it's a social media platform, which makes it great. Which is why we love it. But
Yes.
yeah, so it's a lot like Etsy, search and discovery. People are going on that platform because they know what they want. They're not going on like Instagram or TikTok. You're just kind of like, oh, how can I be entertained today? But on Pinterest and Etsy, people are going on there. They know exactly what they want. They're searching for solutions to their problems. So
good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it makes it great for, when you're searching, you're looking at other niches, just thinking about if you were the pinner, if you were your customer, your own audience, we all have to do this. We have to think about, how is our market, our audience thinking? So when they're going on Pinterest, how are they going to search? And how are you going to get in front of them based on what they're searching for? So that's how you have to think about it. Another tip would be the trends tool. I don't know if you know about this, but
oh my gosh, no, I don't think I've talked about that before on Pinterest. We talk about it on Etsy all the time. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. There is a trends tool, and then we talk about like Google Trends. But
yeah,
please tell us how to use. This is not something I've really delved into enough. Again,
cool.
amateur
So the trends tool on Pinterest, you can find it on your profile under analytics. You'll find trends. You can also search trends.pinterest.com. And this is really the best way to compare keywords. So
Wow.
yeah, so you can tell like which keywords are ranking higher on Pinterest. It will tell you that. And it's like got this amazing graph, and it does, double compare. It goes up to 4. So you can compare 4 different keyword phrases. And you have a graph and everything. So that's
Oh
super
my
helpful.
gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know about that. That warrants a TikTok later today, probably. That's so good, Tabby. Okay, okay. I mean, honestly, so my listeners are in one of two camps right now. I have got people who they've probably already turned us off because they are literally and they're going to come back later though to go try some of this stuff because they're like, yes. And then others are very overwhelmed. Like they probably feel like we've been speaking Hebrew or Greek or Latin
Uh-huh.
this entire time.
I'm sure.
Right. Yes. So if we were going to boil it down for the newbie, someone who's just kind of, maybe not even on Pinterest yet, brand new, and this has probably felt a bit overwhelming, could you give maybe 2 to 3 steps they could take today to get started? Like give them some little bites, like toddler bites of,
Yes, I will.
action points. That would be so helpful.
Okay. So first of all, make sure you have a Pinterest account. And if you don't have a Pinterest account, make sure it's a business account, because
Oh,
that's where
good.
you're going
Okay.
to get all your
Yes.
great analytics. Number 2, you need to make sure you claim your Etsy shop and your website if you have a website. But make sure you claim your Etsy shop. And then number 3, I would just start by this is just a guideline that I thought would be easy enough. It's not like, hardcore, like this is what you have to do. This is just a suggestion. Create one pin and one idea pin for maybe like your top 10 products. So take your best sellers, make a pin, make an idea pin, and then just to get started, just to
Okay.
get
Just for those
yourself
things.
out on the
That's
platform.
enough. That's,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. So then after you do all that, you can start thinking about like integrating your shop and, your strategy and all of that.
And your sections and oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I mean, I think the cool thing about this is, uh, um, there's something really to be said for studying an expert like Simple Pin and like for you and Kate. And the podcast is, the Simple Pin Media podcast is phenomenal. But I'm sure there's people who would like to do more and maybe start taking taking more bites as they go along after drinking from a fire hose today. So tell us how Simple Pin Media can help our listeners today. What services can you offer, smaller Etsy shop owners, bigger Etsy shop owners? Where can they get started for just like more goodness?
Yeah. So first, we have for like the newbies, not been on Pinterest yet, or it's been a long time since you've even looked at your Pinterest account. We have a free, basically an email series. It's a mini email series, and it walks you through step by step. There's even videos that's, guiding you along. Just setting up your Pinterest account, setting up strategy, setting up consistency on the platform, because that's also very important on Pinterest is consistency. So yeah, that's, I think you'll have it in the show notes, but
Sure, absolutely.
simplepinmedia.com/start. And then we have a few other things that might be beneficial to some of you. It just depends on, your budget, or DIYing your Pinterest account, or do you want to hand it over, or get more deep dive of e-commerce on Pinterest. We have all kinds of options at simplepinmedia.com. I would just start looking at our products and look for the word e-commerce, because those are the kinds of products that are really going to help you. And then we do have, like, amazingly enough, this timing just worked out, but next week, next Thursday, the 17th, February 17th, we're having an idea pin workshop.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a deep dive into idea pins and how to make them work for your niche. So that's
What?
exciting. And it'll be Kate and I doing that one. So you'll see me over there.
Oh my gosh. So we can jump on that. We'll have a link, right? You're going to get me a link and I'm going to put it in the show notes, and you guys can get on that list to do that workshop. That is gold. Wow. Okay, thank you so much. So, and then where's the best place for our listeners to keep up with 𝗗𝗏𝗨 and Simple Pen Media on like on social, or where should they be following you guys? Because I assure you they're going to want to.
So we are on Instagram the most at simplepenmedia.com. And I am the social media manager at Simple Pen. So I'm over there all the time, and you can absolutely DM us about questions you have from this podcast, anything. I'm happy to answer your questions and say hi, Tabi. And we're
That's
obviously like at simplepenmedia.com, and if you listen to podcasts, or Simple Pen Podcast. So
I will make sure that all of that is just like very clearly linked in the show notes, because I think there's so many different directions to go. There's so much goodness. Like this is just the tip of the iceberg. And Tabi, I'm so grateful. Like your time is so valuable and the work you do is incredible. And so just thank you for taking this time with me today. I'm appreciative.
aw, thanks. That was super sweet of you. And it's been fun. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun. You guys will be super tickled. I met Tabi on Instagram
Yeah.
because they are that wonderful about responding. And you don't get that from big companies usually. Like they are so, they just make you feel welcome and they're very helpful. So I just completely endorse them. And I
Aw,
think that you guys should follow. Yeah. So we'll have to keep in touch, Tabi. I'll have to slide into your DMs again here.
awesome. Sounds
Okay,
good.
girl. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com, where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.